Okay, so today we are going to be doing a review for two books. I kind of am going to mash the reviews together because I finished them close to the same time, and this will work out. We're going to be reviewing Pretty Little Wife, as well as this nonfiction that I can't say the name of without it hurting my CPM. I'll have timestamps in the description in case you're only interested in one of these books, but both of these reviews are going to be spoiler-free so that you can decide if it's a book that you want to pick up or not. Starting with Pretty Little Wife. Probably just because I have more to say about it because, you know, it's fiction. Pretty Little Wife is I don't know how it's categorized. Let's find out real fast. Okay. So it's categorized under a suspense / psychological thriller. I'm gonna recategorize it just for the sake of this review. I would call it a mix between a mystery and a domestic thriller. So we follow two POVs. Our primary POV is the wife, Lila, who found out some dirty secrets. You know what? That minimizes it more than I'm comfortable with, even though I'm trying to be vague. She finds out some things about her husband and decides the correct solution is to kill him. We know this from the first chapter. We know this from the back description. So that's our main POV. And then after she does kill him, which again is in the description of the book, so it's not a spoiler, and it happens at the very beginning of the book. After she does kill him, we also follow the perspective of the detective who is heading up the investigation of this murder. Her name is Ginny. So the reason I say that for the purposes of this review, I'm recategorizing it as domestic thriller / mystery, which obviously I can't actually do that. But the reason I say that is because I think that it sets the expectations just right. I didn't look anything up about this book when I started reading it, so I went in with no expectations. But it's definitely not paced like a psychological thriller. A psychological thriller usually has more intense writing and more suspenseful, heart-hammering, oh my goodness, what's going on here, sort of stakes and sort of pacing, and this book didn't. It had much slower, more chill pacing. With domestic thrillers and mysteries in general, it's more of like, let's hang out for a while and slowly uncover some clues, and less of, oh my goodness, I'm on the edge of my seat. This is not an edge of my seat kind of book. This is a slow, unveiling kind of story, which I enjoy. I have a good time with those types of books. So, you know, I was happy with it. I actually really enjoyed the combination because, as you guys know, I've been trying to read more mysteries lately, and I almost always either don't end up finishing them because I kind of lose interest, or I finish them out and I don't have strong feelings about them. Following a detective solving a crime is just a tough sell for me for whatever reason. It's not in my taste. I really like this balance because I felt like I got that, but I got it in pieces with also another thing being the focus, so it was a good balance for me personally. Also, it really leans into some sick themes without going over the top with them, without it being as intense as a lot of psychological thrillers or mysteries can go. I don't know why I'm still holding this with these sort of themes. Some things that didn't work for me. I really didn't care for this author's writing. Again, I'm becoming a prose snob. I kind of hate it about myself, but I also kind of love it because I really appreciate good prose. This author had not just simple prose, but just in general, not great prose. If you're not a prose snob, you won't care. If you are, it might not be the funnest writing style to read. Also, just in general, when you're trying to write a more intense story, I really love it when prose match, and I didn't feel like her prose really matched what she was trying to accomplish. But again, I know that that's not something that a lot of people care about, so all good if that's not something that you care about. The other thing that I kind of complain about this book is there are certain things about it that were written kind of sloppily in I'll just show you. So this is all within the first like 2 or 3 chapters of the book, and the chapters are very short. This is within like 20 pages of the book beginning. So spoilers for the first 20 pages, but not spoilers for any major points or even storylines of the book. You can skip to the timestamp of my final thoughts on this book if you don't want this. But the book kicks off with her husband's boss coming to her house and telling her that her husband didn't show up for work. She's not concerned about it. She says, oh, he's probably just he's probably in a field somewhere or something. Like, he's a coach, so he's probably scouting out something. She gave some excuse. Her boss was like, no, he's never late for work. This never happens. He prides himself about always being at work. There's something wrong here. So she agrees to go to the school with him to try to help find out what's going on, even though she knows what's going on. A detective shows up at the school. So he was about an hour late for work when her husband's boss freaked out and came to her house. He's a teacher at the school. He's a coach at the school. By the time they actually got to the school, let's pretend 2, maybe 3 hours has passed. Probably not even that long. A detective is already on the scene. And that means that they would have known, oh, he's an hour late. This is strange. Let's call the detective now. They would have called the detective after about an hour of he's late for work. This detective then said, I was between cases, so I had some spare time. So I decided to do a courtesy call and come onto the school and check it out, which I just don't believe you. Like, I just don't believe that a detective would be like, I'm in between cases. I got some spare time. Let me go see why a man is late for work. Then later on in the book, Ginny, the detective, even says that detectives don't take on one case at a time. They're always balancing more than one case. So were you between cases, or do you have multiple cases you're working on? Which one is it? Then on like the next page, this exchange happens where Ginny says, the detective says, several people seem concerned about your husband and his whereabouts. We likely don't have anything to worry about. Most people show up within a day or two and have an explanation. Most people show up within a day or two and have an explanation. No worries at all. Literally just 2 paragraphs down. Lila says, aren't you supposed to wait 48 hours before you start investigating? To which Ginny replies, that's a bit of a Hollywood myth based on the idea that grown-ups sometimes wander, but usually come back. We don't want to waste resources, but we don't want to lose precious time either. So she just said, we likely don't have anything to worry about. Most people show up within a day or two without an explanation, and then says it's a Hollywood myth that people sometimes wander, but they usually come back. Which one is it, Ginny? This happened throughout the book a lot, where these tiny little details, even on the same page, seemed contradictory, and it's just like, it just seemed a little bit sloppy to me that these characters would be talking in circles and nobody noticed, nobody cared. It really just seemed like the author just like wasn't catching these inconsistencies. Oh, also, just like a page after that, Ginny mentioned she's questioning Lila, and she mentions there were no car accidents in the area with her husband's car model, no people in any surrounding hospitals under his description. So basically, she got called after he was late. He was 1 hour late for work. She decided to do a check for any car crashes, do a check for all the hospitals in the area for his description, then come to the school. All of this is just because, hey, I had some spare time because it's between cases. Like, I just don't believe you're going to put that kind of work in and then leave your office and then come here and then question the wife as a courtesy call and then speak really inconsistently. I'm nitpicking because as far as I could tell, there were no inconsistencies as far as the major plot. Like, as far as things that actually mattered, it all seemed pretty solid and it was a fun ride. But I'm nitpicking because it kind of irritated me that these little details were just kind of like all over the place. That's my really one big complaint with this book, but really, in general, I had a fun time reading it. The whole overarching story was a fun ride. I had a good time watching the little layers get peeled back, and the resolution to the whole thing was great. I usually have pretty mixed feelings about domestic thrillers, about mysteries, about how it all resolved. A lot of times I feel like I don't love the way it lands, and I felt really good about the way this one landed. So I had a good time with it. I'm giving it 4 stars. I thought it was a really good read. If you are nitpicky like me, you'll notice some inconsistencies. If you can let them go, you'll have a good time. I feel like I honed in on those nitpicks a lot, so I just reiterate, I really did enjoy reading this. I thought that it was a fun ride, and if you enjoy a more slow-paced, more character-focused story, it was a good one. If you like this genre, it's a good book. Next book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Flying Who's It. So I have had so much anxiety lately and not been in the best headspace. And in that, I have realized a spotlight has shown on something that I need to fix. And that's the fact that I care way too much what people think about me. I just want everybody to get along. I just want everybody to live in harmony and be happy with each other. And generally, when I find out that that's not happening, I don't like it. I want everybody to be resolved with each other and to at least be okay with each other. And anytime I find out that somebody has a problem with me, it bothers me. And I realized that that's not a great trait. So I decided to pick up this self-help book that is basically about letting go and not caring so much about a lot of stuff, actually. So I'll say this, I buddy read this with G from Book Roast, and while we both liked the core of most of what he said in the book, we had really different experiences with it because he really leans into the humor of the title of this book. And the way he presents things is very, terse and crass. And, he leans into it in a way that you would expect a title like this to be. And for G, she kind of had this perspective of like, he's a bro talking to bros and he's like trying so hard to be cool. And for me, I kind of thought the humor was funny and I liked that he leaned into it so much. So I guess it kind of depends on what tolerance level you have for this type of humor. He's a very blunt and, terse way of talking, but it didn't bother me too much. And I really liked the stuff that he had to say. With any nonfiction book, especially a self-help book, I don't agree with everything that they say. So I didn't agree with everything that he said in this book, but I expect that and I'm fine with that. But I did take a lot out of it. There was a lot of stuff that he said about just shifting the perspective in which you view things that really helped me a lot. Certain things that I've been feeling more anxiety around, the way that he suggested looking at it and not expecting so much out of certain things and maybe broadening the way you see the world. This is spoiler free, so I'm trying to give you like broad idea without actually just laying out all of the tips that he gave. But he did a really good job of helping broaden the scope of your perspective so that these things that seem major, that seem big, that seem terrifying or anxiety inducing seem much more insignificant and help you to be able to move forward in a healthy way. And it was really helpful. It's not just in regards to relationships, it's about jobs and it's about the way you perceive yourself. And, he covered a lot of different topics and some of it I already felt equipped in and it was a good reminder, and then some of it was stuff that really helped me to shift my perspective and help me to appreciate stuff more or just not really worry about certain things so much. It was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. If it sounds like something that you would be interested in, I do really recommend it. I don't agree with every piece of advice that he gave, but he did give a lot of good advice in there. Okay, so those are 2 quick reviews for 2 books that I read recently. I decided to push them together because both of these are genres that I don't talk about as much on my channel, so I don't know how much interest there will be, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. Be sure to chat with me more about both of these books in the comments if you plan to read them, if you have read them and want to discuss them more. I post videos every Tuesday through Friday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.